Hi, I'm Gracie Lawrence.
I'm Clyde Lawrence.
We are Lawrence.
And we are here to do a iHeartRadio Ask Anything chat. We have a new song called What You Want off of our new album, Family Business.
And thank you to Romeo and Most Requested Live for having us. We are very excited to answer your questions. Okay, here we go. Lisa from Lake City, Florida. First question. If you could go back in time to 3 points in your life, what ages would they be? Three is hard.
Three, yeah. I mean, I think it would be fun to go back to when we first started touring and like try to re-experience what that was like. I feel like it's such a cliche for people to say, oh, you know, those early days when we were all just like in the van and, you know, whatever, those were the days. But I do kind of feel that way. It was kind of a fun, exciting time. And it's still very fun and exciting, but that would be a cool time to revisit. So I guess I would have been about 21 and you were 17 when we started touring or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's one.
That's one. That's the only one I can think of.
I'll give it. I would like to my earliest memory is probably preschool-ish time. I actually have a really early memory.
Fond memory?
No, I was such an anxious child.
Well,
it would just be interesting to relive your earliest memories.
Right.
And see if they were accurate. And also I think I would like to go back to positive childhood memories, which were us playing music in the living room as kids.
True.
And kind of experiencing just the warmth and excitement of that, and our grandparents visiting, and that would be really fun to go back to.
Good one. I would go to round it out. I'd go back to the year 2006 when I was 13, when the Mets were really, really good. I'd go back to September of that year when they were so good and I was sure they were going to win the World Series, but then they didn't and they broke my heart. So I'd go back to that moment in September when it was all looking
and pause
looking
it right
for
before
the Mets
the disappointment.
Right then.
Okay, great question.
Next up,
Max from Vologda, Russia.
Mm.
I don't even know if I pronounced that right. I'm so sorry. What will help me control my voice while singing the same way you do? I mean, I think it's a cliche, but practice really does make perfect. I think voices are so individual and particular, and certainly the way I think about how to control my voice might be different than the way you think about how you control your voice. And so I think that's it really is just about getting to know your own voice and and practicing and yeah, just singing a lot of different kinds of music also is a good trick to kind of hear your voice in different kinds of music.
And just practicing singing in a way that's gonna make people feel something from the song. I know that's so people practice singing in tune or practice breath control or all those things, but just make sure the way that you're delivering the song is in a way that's gonna make people go I
feel
so
something.
feel that whatever the song is about or
That's
whatever.
a good point.
I think that's really important. Do you want to skip this next one?
Let's skip this next one.
This is a great one, and the shout out to that is really funny. But we'll skip it.
Yeah, I'll probably just skip it.
Right, we'll never know.
You'll never know.
Finch from St. Louis Park, Minnesota. Very cool name, Finch. Was hip replacement inspired by Tower of Power? Absolutely. Hip replacement is essentially a direct homage to the Tower of Power, to many Tower of Power songs, but particularly their song What Is Hip, which not only musically is a similarly kind of funky, horn-driven, 16th note bass line song like Hip Replacement, but lyrically even and thematically plays with the question of what does it mean to be cool? What does it even mean to be hip? Should you want to be hip, or is the coolest thing you can do to exist outside the bounds of conventional hipness. So we kind of wanted to play with that too, and we added our own little extra layer of punniness by throwing in the anatomical concept of a hip. Yeah, great question.
Okay.
We're on to this one.
Um,
Next question.
David from New York City. Gracie, are you worried about or has there been any backlash from Ringo?
This is a reference to our song I'm Confident That I'm Insecure, in which we have the lyric, and I know that Ringo sometimes wishes he was Paul.
And it's in the context of listing a lot of things that people of great success and people and things that are considered successful might be insecure about. So like the first line is, and the great wall sometimes feels like just a wall, and Ringo sometimes wishes he was Paul. No, Ringo has
We've heard nothing
not
from
entered
Ringo.
the chat.
Yeah.
And I hope that
silence.
Ringo knows that we could only use that line as a good example of what we're talking about by talking about someone that is successful and is a hero of ours and would be someone that you'd never suspect would be insecure.
The point of the song is that, like,
even the greatest
possible people that would have no reason to be insecure, like a Ringo Starr, could always find. Now, we don't know for a fact whether Ringo's insecure or not.
We don't
but the
know.
point is that he
We took
could be
poetic
just like we
license.
could be, or just like anybody could be.
But
And that's the idea.
Ringo, we do love you, and we hope that you're a fan.
On a personal note, we did see that Ringo Starr, when we were looking up at the marquee at Radio City Music Hall, where we're performing very soon, which is going to be like a dream come true show. We saw that Ringo Starr is performing not long after us at the same venue. And that was like the craziest kind of pinch us moment, for me at least, that it was like, oh my God, like we're on a
That
billboard.
is
and
really
then
cool.
There's Ringo.
No,
was,
that
like,
is
craziest thing
fully,
ever.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Okay, next question. Haley from Greenville, North Carolina. Was it always your intent to call the group Lawrence? What other names were considered?
When we started playing, because Gracie was like literally in middle school and high school, so she wasn't at a lot of the shows, and I was writing almost all the music at the time, the name of the band was just like the Clyde Lawrence Band. And then, yeah, when we kind of decided that we were going to start collaborating on more of the songwriting and formally having like both of us, you know, be in at all the shows, we considered a handful of names, but I think Lawrence.
There was a moment where we were like Clyde and Gracie.
Yeah.
I remember Eric Krasno, who produced our first album, before we had like officially released anything as Lawrence.
He was like, maybe
he
it
was
should
like,
be.
Yeah. The joy of living in New York. Yeah, there was like definitely a moment where we're like, maybe something else that is simple and clear like Lawrence, but yeah, Lawrence stuck. It just stuck.
People sometimes think my first name is Lawrence.
Yeah, totally. And then they'll see me and they'll be like, you can't be Lawrence.
Yeah.
I'm like, just you wait. John from Mannheim, Pennsylvania.
We were just talking about this.
At the record release, you mentioned John Bellion campaigned to have What You Want as the lead-off for Family Business. Can you talk about the thinking that went into determining track order of the album and why you've reversed it for your sets?
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
There's a lot of questions within this question.
To clarify what the question is, we had an album release party that was a mix of friends, collaborators, people in the music industry, as well as fans. And it seems like John was there. John from Mannheim, Pennsylvania was there, as well as John Bellion was there. And John Bellion, we must have said somewhere early on in the night that when we were talking about What You Want, that was a song that John was very pro featuring.
We were unsure of what song to put first on the album. There was obviously like a possibility from the beginning that it could be Family Business, since that is the name of the album. It's the title track. It feels very intro-y. but we pretty quickly decided we didn't want it to be that because it felt too obvious. But then we had some other contenders. We were unsure of What You Want. It's so high energy. It's such a like kick down the door. And we were like, is it too, frankly, just like too sick and exciting to be the first song, which sounds ridiculous in retrospect. And John was just like very much like, no, don't be afraid of it. Like he was very pro it, and it was a decision that really came down to the wire, but we ended up going with it, and I'm so happy that we did.
I think like all bold choices just take a minute to like set in.
Yeah.
And I think it just felt like such a bold choice to kick the album off with. And
John is a
bold guy.
A purveyor of bold choices in a way that I respect.
Totally.
And then the other part of the question was, why did we reverse the order? So, I mean, this is a spoiler, but we play What You Want very much towards the end of the set. I don't know. Just feels like a fun one to do at the end. We want to do something different at the beginning. I don't want to spoil the set list, so you got to come out to a show on the Family
You want to
Business
end
Tour.
on a high note too.
Right.
So I think that's quite literally what You Want feels like, as it is a very high note.
Yeah.
I believe that was the last question. The last thing we want to say is thank you for sending in your questions. Thank you to Romeo and Most Requested Live. Please go check out our new song, What You Want, and our new album, Family Business.
And come see us on tour, the Family Business Tour. We're leaving really soon, hitting all over North America, and then Australia after that. And maybe some other places after that. Who knows?
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Thank you for watching our Ask Anything chat. Hope to see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.